The movie Downton Abbey is a delightful throwback to a different age. Hi again, welcome to Plain English, Thursday edition. I'm Jeff, JR is the producer, and you are part of the best audience in the world. I really mean that. Today is episode 193. And that means you can see all the episode resources at plainenglish.com/193. Coming up today, one of my favorite television shows is now a movie, and it was amazing. I'll talk about the series and the movie called Downton Abbey on today's episode. No spoilers for the movie, don't worry about that. Later on in the program, we'll have a phrasal verb, shy away from, and JR will have his song of the week. The video lesson for today's episode is about how to use as such, and the flashcards are all about the aristocratic way of life. If you're wondering about flashcards and the video lessons, then you can read all about our membership program at plainenglish.com/plus, P-L-U-S. The series Downton Abbey takes place in a country estate in rural England between 1912 and 1926. An English country estate is a large house, a mansion, and sprawling grounds. The holder of the estate in the show was an earl. An earl is a member of the British nobility and would often rule in the countryside in place of the king, who would have been farther off in the city. A country estate like this, like Downton Abbey, was not only a huge house, but it was also a symbol of the king's rule, and as such, it was a center of activity and employment. The house typically had a full staff of servants, would host important visitors from other parts of the country, and carried out important duties in the community. The system of country estates owned and managed by nobility was beginning to fall apart, actually was falling apart during the period in which the show takes place. The beginning of the 20th century was also a period of great societal change. Women were starting to take a more independent role in society. A few went to work. Many in the upper classes sought to marry for love instead of for their family's economic interests. In England, the importance of the nobility was starting to diminish as more people moved to the city for paid work. Society was becoming more meritocratic there. So the show is about both the family that lives there, the Crawley family, and about the servants who work in the house, lots of them. The servants live there, preparing food, hosting events, helping the family dress, taking care of the children, lighting the fireplaces and candles, etc. Throughout the show, you can see how society was changing for both the upstairs and the downstairs, for both the Crawley family and their servants. It was fun to trace some of the big societal events of the time through the show. The series begins with the announcement that the Titanic had sunk. World War I intervenes. You see people go to war. The terrible 1918 influenza epidemic strikes. You see tempers flare when one of the Crawley girls marries an Irish man. the Crawley family gets a telephone and then a gramophone, a radio, for the first time. Like any good drama, you really grow to like some characters, you hate others, and there are some surprises along the way. The plot features crime, disease, miracles, love, heartbreak, success, liberation, disappointment, a full range of emotions in both sets of characters. The show does not shy away from showing the prejudices and attitudes of the aristocratic Crawley family or the difficulties and trials of the age, but it does present them in a friendly and approachable way. Many movies and dramas tend to make the upper-class aristocrats seem frivolous and cold, almost a joke. The aristocratic way of life is quite foreign to us now in the 21st century, but they were people and they had their ups and downs, their human issues, which I think the show presented quite well. As for the film, the plot revolves around a visit by the King and Queen to Downton Abbey in 1927. Both the Crawley family and the servants are anxious about the royals' visit. The preparations for meals and a parade are what keeps the story moving, but the real treat of watching the film, as well as the series, is the richness of the characters and how their rivalries, anxieties, aspirations, and frustrations all come to life. All my favorite characters are back, and if you watched the show, you'll easily slip back into the characters and all the old dramas. The final scene may leave the door open to a sequel or another spin-off series entirely. One of the main characters, Mary, has doubts about the future of the system that gave rise to Downton Abbey, the whole system of nobility and large estates and so on. She questions the usefulness of it all. And in that last scene, Mary's grandmother, the family matriarch, talks about the changing world and gives Mary the pep talk she needs to lead the family into the future. One of the nice things about Downton Abbey, the show and the movie, is that it isn't cynical. It doesn't make you despair for the future or think the world is totally messed up. The world was far, far from perfect in that time, and I don't think many of us would choose to return to that age. But you learn to love the characters, you can sympathize with their age and their attitudes. Both the upstairs and downstairs crew seem to have a happy ending and a decent future to look forward to. Throughout its run on television, Downton Abbey won accolades and prizes. It won a Golden Globe Award and a Primetime Emmy Award. It was the most watched show on the American network PBS and on the British network ITV. In fact, it was PBS's biggest series since the 1970s. The 6 seasons of Downton Abbey ended in 2015. They are available on streaming, at least on Amazon. The film was released on September 13th in the UK and on September 20th in the US. I saw the movie at an AMC Theaters, the one in downtown Chicago at Block 37, for those of you who know the city. and they were pushing their subscription business hard with ads before and after the movie. I want to say hi to a few listeners today. First, Fernanda and Wallison from Brazil tied the knot. They got married last Saturday. So I want to say parabéns, congratulations, and thanks to both of you for being part of Plain English. Secondly, Leonardo from the town of Tambau is getting ready for the visit from a cardinal to mark a special occasion. 2 individuals from Brazil will be canonized, made saints. They are the Brazilian priest Donizete Tavares and Sister Dulce, known in Brazil as the Mother of the Poor. And to celebrate the occasion, a cardinal from Rome will visit Brazil and will visit Leonardo's hometown of Tambau in the state of Sao Paulo. So I wanted to say hi to Leonardo and everyone who's preparing for the upcoming cardinal's visit. I have a correction from a previous episode. Victoria from Brazil pointed out that fentanyl is actually not itself an illegal drug. I think I said that fentanyl was a variety of illegal drug like heroin back in the episode about America's opioid crisis. It's not. It can be made illegally and is often used that way, but it is used for the treatment of severe pain, especially, as Victoria mentions, with cancer patients. So Victoria was nice enough to send me a note about that, and I wanted to pass along that correction to all of you. Today's expression is a phrasal verb to shy away from something. When you shy away from something, you avoid having to deal with something difficult, uncomfortable, or unpleasant. You might say about someone, she doesn't shy away from talking about uncomfortable subjects, or he doesn't shy away from tackling the hardest problems. When you have a big issue or big problem, you want someone who's not going to shy away from the hard task. The way I presented it earlier was the writers of Downton Abbey didn't shy away from portraying the upper class family as human. I say that because it's uncomfortable and difficult. Today, in the 21st century, we tend to look back at the lives of earls and dukes and duchesses and such and think that they led a charmed life, eating the finest food, wearing the finest clothes, with a house full of servants attending to their every need, not working in any meaningful way, inheriting everything. That's the way they are often portrayed, and it's a little simplified, a little simplistic, and that would be the easy thing to do for the writers of Downton Abbey. The hard and potentially uncomfortable thing is to fully develop those characters. And just because they lived that life doesn't mean they weren't ever unhappy in their marriages, doesn't mean that they didn't ever lose children to disease, doesn't mean that they weren't frustrated with their role in society and life, doesn't mean there wasn't scandal, doesn't mean there weren't black sheep in the family. So the writers didn't shy away from fully developing the characters. I'll tell you one of the hard things for me as I transition this program from being just a free podcast to being one with a business component, a hard thing for me is asking people to buy. My tendency is to shy away from asking for the sale. What I naturally feel comfortable doing is just mentioning that we have the membership, but that's not really enough. If I really want people to sign up for Plain English Plus, then I need to ask people to sign up. I can't shy away from asking for the sale. If I just sit back and hope people sign up because they heard about it, I'll definitely get some members, but to be successful, you have to ask people to sign up. And that just doesn't come naturally to me, so I tend to shy away from it. But I know I have to fight that instinct. A lot of you are in sales, I know from all your notes, so you know what I'm talking about. Some people shy away from commitment. Not Fernanda and Wallison, our two listeners who got married on Saturday. Certainly not. Other people. Other people might shy away from making a commitment. I have another example from Plain English. I can't say the exact thing right now, but there is something I need to buy. It's a fair amount of money, but I really do need it for the future of this program and our website and our membership. And I've been shying away from buying it, shying away from the commitment just because it's so expensive and I wanted to make sure the membership would be successful before committing. But I know I need to do it because without it, I'd be in trouble. So I can't shy away from making that investment any longer. I have to just do it. Okay, time for the song of the week. We did an episode a while back, episode 41, about the DJ Avicii who took his own life, citing the pressures of being back on tour. A group of artists announced a tribute concert in Avicii's hometown of Stockholm. David Guetta, Adam Lambert, and Kygo will all perform, as well as many of the original singers on his best songs. So JR selected a song by Avicii today, You Be Love by Avicii. That is the song of the week, and it's all about complements, things that go together. Sailor and shore, gravity and fall, poet and song, blacksmith and blade, things like that. So check that out on your Spotify playlist, You Be Love by Avicii, and take a look at episode 41 at plainenglish.com/41 if you have not yet heard that one. That's all for today. Hey, here's my recommendation about Downton Abbey. Go see the movie, and if you like it, then start the series from the beginning. There are 6 seasons, and then watch the movie again when you're done with the series. That's my recommendation. Now, here's where I have to fight my instinct. I'm not going to shy away from asking for the sale. I want you to join Plain English Plus. It's the membership program that will help you take your English to a new level. The video lessons especially. That's what Martine from Ecuador said is most helpful. The video lessons help you connect your ideas and speak in a more sophisticated way. So if you're ready to take the next step in English, then I encourage you, I'm asking you to visit plainenglish.com/plus, Plus today. Thanks for listening and for being part of the best audience in the world. JR and I will be back on Monday with another new episode for you.